Here's what's coming up on today's show.
These are financial planning strategies that are tried and true and that will work. We just need to sit down and get a plan is what we need to do.
Welcome to the How Money Works podcast with Craig and Jennifer Moser of Maestro Wealth Advisors, serving you throughout the Triad of North Carolina for more than 30 years. I was wondering if we could talk a little bit, guys, about putting it off, some of the financial matters, because this is me. I like to procrastinate, okay? And so I tend to push things off to a later date all the time, even when it comes to finances and preparing for retirement, even when I know that I shouldn't. But is everything that bad to put off is the question we're asking today, or does it depend on the situation?
Okay.
What do you think, Jennifer? It depends on the situation, but...
Yeah, let's look at some of those common things, and let's address each one and one alone. First one, deferring taxes. Is that good or bad to put off?
Well, here's a Moser answer. Maybe. So some of this stuff, you couldn't change what I'm getting ready to say 5, 10, 15 years ago, but now you can. So let's look at your contributions to your 401k. You know that you can choose to defer the taxes when you put that money in. So that may make sense. Let's say you're a high wage earner, you're in the top tax bracket. So the money that you defer, it might be saving 30, 40%. I mean, think about that by contributing to a 401k. But let's say you're in like a 12% tax bracket or something like that. You go to your 401k and you defer the taxes. Later on, when you take that money out, you're going to pay taxes on every dime of the withdrawal. So is it better to defer now or defer later? And the subjective answer is maybe, and we have to look at your overall situation. If we can keep you in a fairly low tax bracket, pay the taxes now, when you get into retirement, as an example, you will not have to pay taxes on most of the distributions from your 401k or IRA. Wow, that would be awesome. It really helps a lot of things, such as money coming out of in getting Social Security. Maybe we can fix it to where your Social Security will not be taxed as much, 85%, or we could drop it down to maybe only half of it being taxed, or in some cases, depending on how committed you are to getting to a zero tax rate, we could get it to where your Social Security would have no tax burden. It just depends. And so those are things that as you're looking at tax deferral, pay me now, pay me later, you've got to look at it and see what your best ball is. The same thing with a piece of real estate. You buy a piece of investment real estate, and so you get a lot of tax benefits in investment real estate. And then you say, okay, this thing's the real estate market's high and I want to make some money and I'm going to sell it. Boom, you sell it. That may cost you a whole bunch in taxes. The gain, you'll have to pay long-term capital gains on that most likely. The recapture of all the depreciation that you took, you'll probably have to repay that. So all of a sudden you're going, how much of this do I keep and how much does the government take? And so are there strategies that you can use, such as a 1031 exchange, exchanging one piece of property from an investment perspective to another, or using some sort of Delaware statutory trust so that you're avoiding some of those excessive gains when you sell that and still maintain, most of the asset value?
What about eliminating debt? Is that good to put off, or is that a depend?
Oh, well, going into retirement, it's very nice not to have credit card debt, car, boat payments, and a big mortgage. It's much better for most folks if you don't have that debt on there. So if you're like 5 or 10 years out and you're looking at a mortgage and you go, okay, I got to take a 10-year mortgage, you do not. But what we need to do is set up a payment schedule that would repay, for example, a 30-year mortgage. It would repay that quick enough to get to the end of your retirement while you still have a paycheck, while you still have cash flow, and while you're still having enough cash flow to save money for retirement. So again, run the numbers, let us put some data down, show you, okay, if you want to be done in 11 and a half years, we can show you how much you will have to pay to get your mortgage done in 11 and a half years. There are strategies out there to help you eliminate a lot of debt as well, something called a debt snowball. A lot of that floats around on the radio, but it's basically the bully strategy where you find the lowest amount of debt you have in several different choices. So if you had a credit card and a mortgage and a car payment and the credit card was the lowest value, Well, let's take everything that we can above the minimum payments and pay it on that lowest one first, knock it all the way out, and then we have all of that money to apply to the next debt, and so on and so forth. It'll make it go away faster, but these are financial planning strategies that are tried and true and that will work. We just need to sit down and get a plan is what we need to do.
I know what your answer is to the whether putting it off is good or bad. Setting up legal and estate documents.
Always good to do it now. So we've had a couple of people that died this year. The ones that had really strong estate planning documents, it went real smooth for the family. I mean, it's already a tough time. We've lost someone, but the real important thing there is, did we leave a lot of things undone? Are my finances not in order? Do I not know where this stuff goes? So it basically avoids the what ifs.
And I have a personal thing is, my grandfather never did his estate.
Yeah.
He passed away before my grandmother. So that was very bad. He should have done his estate work. And then my grandmother had hers buttoned up.
Oh, yeah.
So
she had a son-in-law or a grandson-in-law, right? That ha ha ha.
Yeah, exactly. So, definitely you need to address your legal and estate docs right away.
Yep.
What about delaying the start of your Social Security? Is that good or bad to put off?
Maybe.
Delaying that start.
One of the things to think about is if you find yourself unemployed at or around 62 and you have no other source of income and you're not going back, maybe you have to take Social Security. But if you retire and don't understand the steps to have a successful retirement, but do have money saved, you're looking at, I've got this pot of money over here. I've never touched this thing, and I really am uncomfortable drawing money out of it. Maybe I'll just turn my Social Security on early. That probably is a mistake. So it depends. Other things to look at would be longevity. What is the expected lifespan for you? So if you're, an Olympic runner and all you eat is bean sprouts and you're super healthy and all this other stuff, plan for a long life expectancy, you're probably better off delaying taking that Social Security as long as you can up to age 70, because that is the maximum payout that the government will give you, versus taking it at 62, which is roughly, compared to age 70, about a 60% discount. It really is. So there's three different numbers that typically we look at in Social Security. One of them would be full retirement age, retiring early at 62, or delaying and getting the most retirement credits that you can get by delaying until 70. And a lot of that just depends on the rest of your accounts, what you need for income, and what your anticipation is for how long you live. Your mother is what, 93?
93.
My dad's 95. We're assuming we're going to live like those folks
There's
do.
some longevity in those genes.
Old curmudgeons is what we're going to turn out to be. But nonetheless, Social Security is sort of a permanent payment. Once you turn it on, if you take it early, you really leave a lot on the table, and you have to evaluate that. And we have resources to allow you to and help you to do that.
And we've put together a guide just for today's show that we'd like to offer you. It's the most common retirement mistakes and how to avoid them. And the Social Security question and conundrum is number 6 for you to really understand that. And the reason why Social Security is kind of the bedrock of your fixed income in retirement. So you need to make sure you get that piece right and how that works with everything else. So let's finish up putting it off and different things that people choose to put off, whether they should or shouldn't. And that's meeting with an advisor. Is that good or bad?
Oh, yeah, I think you should meet with an advisor. Meeting with your peers who have already retired, you get their experience. But what you don't have is the experience of someone that has done this every day. I mean, if you go to a doctor, you're expecting medical advice is specific to you. If you go to a financial planner, which is, there's a lot of people throwing that word around, but somebody that does planning first and then the investment second is what I'm saying. Then when you look at these things and say, all right, let's evaluate everything, somebody that knows how to do that and doesn't miss things, things like the inflation piece, things like the tax piece. And if they only use the sunniest, best assumption, you're never going to get sick, you're never going to have a tax increase, nobody's going to die early. When you run that one analysis there, that's just the very first one. You need to look at things through different lenses and make sure that you have taken care of pretty much all of it, instead of just saying, okay, as long as nothing really goes wrong, I probably could make this work. That's not a good plan. That's a weak plan.
And there's really no reason to not see an advisor, especially when we offer a complimentary consultation with one of our qualified advisors. Craig is a certified financial planner. All of our advisors work with a planning approach first. We look at everything that you have to deal with in retirement, not just generating a retirement income, but how does that income work with your estate plan, with your taxes, with your health issues, the whole 9 yards. We're going to sit down with you. Give us a call at 336-448-1086 and ask for that complimentary consultation with one of our advisors to get started. If you're not ready to get started yet, but you want a little bit more information, then go to our website or give us a call and ask for the most common retirement mistakes and how to avoid them. You'll read through this guide and say, yep, check, got that, or maybe I'm not sure about this, that, and the other. That will point to maybe weaknesses in your current plan and make you solidify whether you actually need to speak with an advisor for a second opinion or whether you're good to go. Our number again, 336-448-1086. As always, thanks for listening to How Money Works Radio. Craig Moser, a certified financial planner, and Jennifer Moser.
Craig Moser is a financial advisor and certified financial planner. Securities offered through Avantax Investment Services, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Avantax Advisory Services. Insurance services offered through Avantax Affiliated Insurance Agency.